It's an honor to be here. My name is Eli Gabay, and I'm the Parnas of Congregation Mikveh Israel. And we are here to salute our veterans at the Mikveh Israel Association memorial ceremony for the Veterans Day. We will begin by asking our esteemed spiritual leader, Rabbi Albert E, to deliver a Devar Torah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Eddie. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's wonderful that we are here celebrating and commemorating Veterans Day. Very important for us because we are very grateful for those people who made the ultimate sacrifice for our country, for us to be free today. Next week, God willing, we'll be talking about Parashat Va'era, and which is Va'era talks about how God Himself is visiting the sick, setting an example for us. It's a mitzvah, it's a commandment for us to visit the sick. Bikur Cholim is called, and that is why do we visit the sick? In order to lift up their spirit. There's the same thing here that we are doing now today. We live the spirit of those people who are alive, who are really working for us, for our country. But also we live the spirit of the people who lost veterans during the wars. And that's a very important aspect of Judaism. Judaism insists that we help each other. Very important. That is really our mission on this earth. So I want to conclude by saying that to all of you, thank you for coming and helping us observing this wonderful Veterans Day, because that is our mission on this earth. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We will now call upon the Frankford High School Army ROTC Honor Guard to begin with the flag ceremony. Before they begin, let me thank them, as I do every year, for their dedication in making this a monumental ceremony in the year that we every year. Let me also say that they are led by First Sergeant Joseph Fraiolli.
Collie guard, hold, up, face. Please, up, colors.
Everybody, please bow for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with
liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to call upon our chat, our esteemed member, to assist us with the singing of the Star Spangled Banner.
And you all have words, in case you're not sure of them, on your table for this song. Here we go. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what surrounding we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched, where so gallantly streaming, and the rocket
thank
That's that. Mark.
Frankford High School Army ROTC Honor Guard Flag Ceremony led by First Sergeant Joseph Fraiolli. We thank Command Sergeant Major Kevin Telado Gutierrez, Captain Ivan Rodriguez, Sergeant Walter Molina Yates, Sergeant Usman Telado Gutierrez, Second Lieutenant Abdullahi Kamagate, and Sergeant Jacob Pancamo. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, a few words from me and then we'll move to the program. On this Veterans Day, as we do every year, we thank the men and women who have always made America great. And we contemplate the larger meaning of their service. We celebrate Veterans Day on the anniversary of the armistice that ended World War I. The armistice that began on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. And here we are. The timing of this holiday is quite deliberate in terms of its historical fact, but somehow it always seems quite fitting that we stand here today and remember anew the brave men and women, the courage, and sometimes also the loneliness that a soldier is feeling. I remember being one and sitting in an ambush and wondering whether or not anyone remembered that we were out there. And so our message today from Congregation Mikveh Israel to veterans of the United States of America, wherever you are in the world, wherever you stand, wherever you are known to be, and wherever you are not known to be, to all the security service of these United States, we remember you here today, and we send our prayers to you. From this congregation, known as the Synagogue of the American Revolution, this congregation that stood side by side with General Washington in the fighting for freedom during the Independence War, and we have had soldiers in all of the United States' major campaigns and wars. Even today, we have soldiers who are elsewhere other than the United States and are part of the armed forces of the United States and abroad. So with that, let me at this point continue with our program and thank the Mikveh Israel Association for what they do every year. While we are here filling up this place, there are many, many more who are seeing this at home as we have streamed this ceremony. And so without further ado, I'd like to call Fran Levy, President of the Mikveh Israel Association, to introduce for us the Honorable Harold Berger, who will speak about his experiences during World War II. Fran, come on up. Ladies and gentlemen. I know that Fran will also want to thank our catering people who have done a tremendous job at putting together a presentation.
Thank you for coming this morning. This is so emotional for me because I appreciate the veterans, what they've done, what they've given, just going off, not knowing where they were going. Sometimes I've heard the stories over and over, and it really gets to me tremendously. And today is also the birthday of the 244th birthday of the United States Marine Corps from 1775. I heard that this morning, and I'm just proud of everyone that has given of themselves, of their lives, the ultimate sacrifice, as they say. And today we have a marvelous speaker. Again, this year we have to go into our history books of the Mikveh Israel. We have Judge Harold Berger, and he has a story to tell. Very unique, very unique. This hasn't been heard before. And he's also has a background of being attorney, a judge, recognized in Philadelphia at the University of Pennsylvania Law School. We've been to some of the events where he was honored, and I'm so proud to know him. And you will also feel the same way I feel. And without much ado, I would like to call Judge Berger to come up, and we are anxious to hear what you will tell us, enlighten us today. Very proud.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It's a pleasure to be at Mikveh Israel. I've been here many times. And my brother David was a longtime member of Mikveh Israel. And we went to Minyan on a number of occasions, Rabbi, as you'll recall. Is that okay? Better? Okay. So, at any rate, I'd like to tell you fine people about the Berger brothers, 4 who served in World War II at the same time. We were all in the service at the same time. We were born and raised in Lackawanna County, Pennsylvania, in a little town called Orchville, 5,000 people. And David, my brother David, was a lieutenant commander in the U.S. Navy in the South Pacific, was stationed and a crew member of the USS Hornet, a very famous aircraft carrier because the Doolittle Raiders early in the war took off from the decks of the Hornet to bomb Tokyo. At any rate, the Hornet was in a number of naval battles, including Midway, and finally it was sunk by the Japanese fleet with great loss of life. The survivors were floating around in the Pacific, including David, and they were picked up by U.S. destroyers, taken to New Caledonia for medical treatment and rehabilitation. David, after a while, was reassigned to another aircraft carrier, the USS Franklin, and the Franklin saw a lot of action in the South Pacific, many naval battles, and then it was totally demolished, not sunk, but the Japanese Air Force and kamikazes bombed the ship, hit the magazines, and blew up and set the entire ship on fire. Tremendous loss of life. Over 1,000 of our sailors lost their lives. At any rate, I don't want to describe what happened, but I located the citation for the Silver Star Medal that was awarded to David for his bravery and gallantry in action. And the citation explains more than I could what went on the Franklin. And the citation reads, United States Pacific Fleet, Commander 1st Carrier Task Force, in the name of the President of the United States, the Commander 1st Carrier Task Force Pacific presents the Silver Star Medal to Lieutenant Commander David Berger for services set forth in the following citation. For distinguishing himself by gallantry and bravery in action against the enemy while serving as assistant air officer aboard an aircraft carrier which was striking the main Japanese islands near Kobe on 19 March 45. After his ship was hit in an enemy air attack, there followed a series of violent explosions of ready bombs, rockets, and ammunition. With great courage and disregard for his personal safety, he organized and led an ammunition jettisoning party emptying 2 hot magazines while flames and suffocating smoke raged about. Later, in the face of continuing explosions and during further enemy air attacks, he organized fire parties and fought fires in and about the flight deck. His leadership and devotion to duty aided greatly in saving the ship, and his gallant and brave conduct was in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Naval Service. Signed, M.A. Major, Vice Admiral, U.S. Navy. And Rabbi, I have to say that after the Hornet was sunk, David rode home and wanted another pair of tefillin. And after the Franklin was demolished, he rode home again for another pair of tefillin. So, at any rate, I had finished 3 years of my engineering course at Penn and was drafted, went into the U.S. Infantry, sent to Camp Landing, Florida for infantry training, and there was a program of a 16-week basic training course, tremendous training for infantry troops, rugged but tremendous. I got up to the 12th week, and we had a rugged day of maneuvering. They brought us to our barracks, fed us, and we went to sleep. And in the morning I got up and I couldn't move my neck. I had a hard job swallowing, and I had an excruciating headache. I struggled through to sick call, went right to the top of the line, told the supervising nurse what was going on. She took me right into the chief doctor, who ripped open my fatigue jacket and saw my chest full of angry rashes, called an ambulance, and I went into a coma. I had come down with a case of spinal meningococcus meningitis. And I went into a coma for 10 days. And when I woke up, I was delirious. And I was saying, I want to go back to my unit, I want to go back to my unit, I want to go back to my unit. And one of the doctors came over and said, Private, there are 2 reasons why you can't go back to your unit. One, you don't have enough strength to get out of bed. And 2, when you were in your coma, your unit was flown over to the Battle of the Bulge and wiped out. So you have no unit to go back to. So that took care of my delirium, but put me into a different type of shock. And at any rate, I started getting better. And a few weeks later, my colonel came in and said, we have good news. And I looked at him, he said, yeah, we're sending you home to your mother and father, medical discharge. I said, I can't go home. All my brothers are in the service. Colonel, I can't go home. So I won't burden you with the Army bureaucracy, which was absolutely irrational. But the colonel was good enough to set up an appointment for me to be examined by the commandant of our base hospital. And he took me over. I was examined in the private office of the commandant. And afterwards he said, this private is okay, he can stay. At any rate, the colonel said, with respect, you think this private is okay, but he's the biggest Section 8 that the U.S. infantry has ever seen. Section 8 being the highest the highest class of psychiatric people. And he said, everyone is begging to get out, and he's begging to get in. So, to stay in. So, at any rate, the colonel said, well, we'll transfer him to another infantry unit, preparing for action in the South Pacific. So I continued to get better and stronger. And then the colonel came in again. Actually, he didn't come in. I was ordered to go to visit him, and I was able to do so. And he said, we have just received word that the chief of the entire Nazi rocket program has surrendered to American forces in Germany, and he's bringing with him a good group of rocket and space scientists who are working on the Baltic coast in an enclave called Peenemünde. And he said, you've been transferred to a Signal Corps unit, and you will be working with these scientists brought over by someone by the name of Werner von Braun. And at any rate, I was flown to Alamogordo Air Base and then transported to White Sands Proving Grounds, where these experiments were being developed. And there, the first U.S. military rocket program was started using V-2 rockets that von Braun brought over when he was transported to the United States, and the first U.S. military aerospace program. The V-2 rocket was a booster rocket that was used in our later space programs. And at any rate, I stayed there until I was discharged. And von Braun became a citizen of the United States. was put in charge later on of the most important NASA projects of our aerospace program. And because of his leadership with American space scientists, we eventually, through our space program, landed a man on the moon. So, at any rate, my brother Norman was a captain in the Army Medical Corps, and he was in the Philippines during the liberation campaign, trying to wrest the Philippines from Japanese control, and he stayed there until he was discharged, take care of American forces and Filipino guerrillas on occasion. My brother Ellis was in Army intelligence, and I can't tell you anything about it because in his whole life he refused to say what he did. But we knew he was on top secret projects, and that's all I could say about Ellis. My kid brother Joseph, was too young to go in the service during World War II. And he became a naval officer during the Cold War. And he was assigned to the submarine service. And during his career, he was attached to a submarine that was plying the Soviet coast off of Murmansk in the Arctic Ocean, trying to pick up as much intelligence as possible. He already had graduated from Penn with an engineering course. So there were 5 boys, Berger brothers, in the service, 4 of whom served in the armed forces at the same time. And the lore in the Berger family was, and is to this day, that we all came back. We all came back because our father said, kill him every single day that we were in the service. And Rabbi, his favorite song, Psalm 91, Yoshev B'Sezer Adyon. So, at any rate, that's the lore of the Berger family, and I can tell you, I believe that lore as I speak to you today. Thank you very much.
We have some gifts for you.
Okay.
Oh. Thank you. But yours is pretty good. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here today. And I can't even speak. It moved me emotionally. I thought about your mother, 5 boys, military. How did she
Nervous wreck.
do it?
And
My
like,
God, I can't even, as a mother,
nervous
with 8
wreck
grandsons,
during that
I can't
war.
imagine.
I'm glad you mentioned my mother, who also said kill him, but she was a nervous wreck and she'd come down. My father was retired at the time. And she would say, I don't know if I can go on because our children are all over the world. We don't know what's happening. And my father, my beloved and blessed father and beloved and blessed mother, well, he would hug her and kiss her and say, I am telling you, everything is going to be all right. And then he'd go into our sun parlor in Archibald and say, kill him, the songs. And that's why the lore is still in force. And
Thank you so much. And we'd like to present from the Mikveh Israel Association. It's Israel 50 years, pictures, photographs, stories for being here today.
Thank you.
Very, very interesting.
Thank you very much, and I shall cherish this book. Thank you very much. Thank you. This, take it right here, and here we go.
There may be a question. There was a question from the audience where you are a judge.
I was on the Common Pleas Court of Philadelphia. I'm a retired judge, and I was a co-founder of a firm in Philadelphia called Berger and Montag. And I might say, for 5 years, I acted pro bono as chair of the Federal Bar Association Committee on the Federal and State Judiciary, where we had to sort of confer with all of the chief justices of every state and also the Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court.
Harold, tell how old you are, please.
I'm going to be 65 years old. No, next year, with the help of the good Lord, I'm going to be 95 years old.
Hey.
And until I hurt my knee playing tennis on a hard court,
Every day, tennis.
you know, I was playing.
Every day.
But
God bless.
Thank you all for coming, but thank you all for listening.
Incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Harold Berger. What an incredible story and a lifetime. And we wish you many, many good years.
Amen. Amen.
And let me ask you to be seated kindly. I remember that years ago, we used to have many more veterans from World War II, and they have described for us the Battle of the Bulge and Iwo Jima and other battles that they had participated in. And over the years, unfortunately, we see less and less. I have to tell you that we even had one time here a member who had fought in World War I. And so that's incredible. And as the years go by, it's important to document, to remember, and to witness. You are witnesses to the greatness of these great men and women who have participated on behalf of the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a friend here, a friend of Mikveh Israel, a man who for many years I've cherished and loved and always heard about him. To me, he was just, because we have a common friend, Woody Goldberg, the great Woody Goldberg. So Sherwood Woody Goldberg, friend of Mikveh Israel, retired United States Army Colonel, did 2 tours of duty in Vietnam, and he is now in the 18th year, serves as the civilian aide to the Secretary of the Army in Washington, D.C. Ladies and gentlemen, let me present to you the greater-than-life person that I've always admired. He was assistant. You were assistant to Vance, right?
No, Alexander Haig.
Haig, I'm sorry.
25 years.
25 years.
I'm in it. Your Honor, may it please the court. Congratulations, Judge Berger. Thank you for your service, your brother's service, and for sharing with us days going by. And Mazel Tov and best health and happiness to you on Veterans Day. Thank you, thank you. And to the junior ROTC cadets, I wish I could turn back the clock and be with you, because you're under great training with the first sergeant the flower of life opens, you realize how important your time of service is. To the Rabbi, indeed, and Eli, and Leon, and Fran, thank you for inviting me back, but you didn't invite me to speak. I take 3 minutes just to share with you. As Judge Berger made clear, and other veterans whom I salute with us today, we Jews also have served and continue to serve in the United States Armed Forces. And of this, we can be very proud. On some future occasion, but I give you some piffle dust. Maybe it's important, maybe it's not, but just a tidbit of 2 facts that take home as you celebrate, acknowledge Veterans Day. I'm honored, although not a West Point graduate, to have taught at West Point, and I serve as Executive Vice President of the West Point Jewish Chapel Fund. There is a Jewish chapel at West Point. If you go to the Plain, since 1884, if you go to the Plain, there's the Cadet Chapel, there's the Catholic Chapel, the Jewish Chapel, and we're right in the middle, and that's America. That's America, and Jews are part of that. This past May, the graduating class of 2019 of West Point included the 1000th Jew to graduate from West Point.
Beautiful.
How many American Jews know that we've served? The first class graduate of West Point was 50% Jewish, but there were only 2 graduates. We've gone down percentage-wise, but we have 50 to 60 annually Jewish cadets who attend services there we have a regular active duty Jewish rabbi, a uniform, captain at the present time. There's services, there's even annual events called Jewish Warrior Weekend, which is an oxymoron to some Americans. The Jewish Warrior Weekend, what is this? Gathering together cadets and midshipmen from Naval Academy, Air Force, ROTC unit. And so at some future time, or sometime on your, we did a video to commemorate the 1000th Jew from West Point. And sometime we'll show it again at convenience of the congregation appropriately. It's entitled, if you want to go on YouTube, Diversity in the Long Gray Line. Not only just Jews, but African Americans and women. Lastly, I share with you that we can be honored to say there are 17 Jews who have been the recipient of the Congressional Medal of Honor throughout history. One of whom is a Rutgers graduate, Colonel Jack Jacobs, you might see on television on occasion, a good friend. And in addition, there's another collection of memorabilia of a recipient from World War I that'll come to the Jewish Museum here in Philadelphia in the not-too-distant future. Thank you very much, and thank you for saluting we veterans, the land of the free and the home of the brave. God bless each and every one. Oh, we're going to have to postpone it. We got a technical issue.
Okay.
Yeah, we got a technical.
Thank you, Willie. I could fix it. Thank you. If I didn't mention Rao Patella. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to conclude, but before we conclude, we're going to ask the Honor Guard to come up and do the candle lighting ceremony. As they are gathering themselves, Woody, thank you for volunteering to come up here and give us that tremendous account of West Point. We, of course, have Eli Levy's statue out there, and he is a tremendous inspiration. Tremendous inspiration. Eli Levy was the first Jewish admiral, and known for many things, but of course also known in West Point for having abolished corporal punishment. So we have learned, and thank you for volunteering. We are gathering.
You know, go Army beat Navy again this year.
We're gathering the Honor Guard. It'll take a minute longer, but thank you for volunteering. I have to tell you that we've thanked everyone.
Yes.
Come on up.
Go around.
Well, we've thanked.
We let the candle also.
Yeah. So Fran reminds me that what we do every year is we're going to light the candle. The honor guard is going to come up. We're going to light the candle, and when we light the candle, you are welcome to come up and state the name of anyone that you wish to remember at this time, whether they are presently serving, alive and well, we pray for them, whether they have served and passed away but served complete service, whether they had unfortunately passed away during one of the wars or campaigns, and whether they were injured, and for anyone who you can remember, whether it be Haim Solomon or Uriah Levy. So we're going to do that. We're still waiting for the honor guard to come up. I am, as I remember, we miss actually one of our board members, Thad, who was in Afghanistan for 2 tours. He's not here today. So when we remember people who are presently serving, we think about a board member who has given so much.